Heard of the term died and gone to heaven? This certainly feels like it, and that's especially if you're a Rolls-Royce or a classic and a vintage car fan. We're here on the outskirts of Calcutta, and this is Shrivardhan Kanoria's workshop, where he's been working on a number of Rolls-Royces. There's some behind us, around us, ahead of us, and bringing them back to life. He's restoring them in a painstaking manner and making sure they're in the best condition ever. So in this video, we're going to take a look at how these cars are restored and rebuilt here by hand, take you through some of the real eye-opening quirks and features, and then finally see what this locally restored car is like to sit in and drive. First up, in the workshop, a set of skills many of us can relate to: carpentry. Now, the old art of cabinet making was very prevalent in the UK, and it was transferred to a lot of our carpenters here. And this helps when you have to do wooden bodywork on the cars. As you can see, a lot of the old skills, that's a rough file that I learned to use in school. And the tools are still very basic, but the quality of the work has to be top-notch, and that's what's really difficult to do. With more than 70 cars under his belt, Kanoria is quite fussy about restoration. He strongly believes in refurbishing old parts rather than just replacing them. And a lot of this includes manual labor. Now, this door hinge-like device you see him working on, that's not a door hinge. It's an old shock absorber that's mounted on the chassis, and this provides the damping force. On this side is Rolls-Royce's famous brass updraft carburetor, completely opened here, and towards there are a set of dials which I'm very keen to look at closely. The seats are done by another in-house specialist. So from sutars and cabinet makers to darjis. Yes, for the upholstery, of course the car is handmade, and here too you can see the seat of the Rolls getting a finishing touch. Now let's take a look at some of the mechanical marvels. Now it's hot, sweaty work here, but I just have to show you some of these gorgeous details on this P1 or Phantom 1. That's a brass radiator. And take a look at this 6-cylinder engine here. Fascinating, this water pump, this radial water pump. The oil pump is down here. That's Rolls-Royce's own updraft carburetor. It's made of brass normally. And other details, of course, you can see these spark plugs. They fire sideways. And a lot of tech here from Rolls-Royce's aero engines. Now, I'm sure some of you have noticed a lot of piping around here. And let me explain, this is not a cross-flow engine. So you have the exhaust running here. That is the inlet that comes up from the carburetor. The air goes into the engine. And this here is for the leads of the spark plugs. And now, let's take a look at just how meticulous Rolls-Royce are. So from one P1 to another, and as you can see here, the exhaust and the inlet are now on the right side of the engine. And why is that? Well, take a look at where the steering is. It's an American car, and that steering column, to make place for that steering column, Rolls had to shift all this hardware to the other side of the engine. Another interesting detail, look at these linkages. That's the starting carburetor, and these linkages go back inside to the wheel so that you can adjust lean or rich, slow idle or fast idle. That's fascinating. So what are these mechanical marvels actually like to work on? We asked workshop owner Shrivardhan Kanoria.
I have done little more than half a dozen cars, and yes, practice makes perfect. It does get easier. The first car which I did up, the first variant of a Rolls-Royce which I did up, was a lot more difficult than the next car which I did up of the same variant, because you know what to do. I believe importing parts from abroad and putting it into the car is not restoration, but it is assembly. I'm not very happy. Rather than that, I believe in fabricating those parts or refurbishing those parts, overhauling those original parts to perform like what they performed when they were new.
The next day, an opportunity to drive a legend. Now, yesterday we saw how these beauties are restored in the workshop, and today we're going to find out how this partially restored car drives on the road. But first up, the looks. Lovely flowing fenders and a long hood. Typical of its age, a nice compact windscreen Notice it's a flat windscreen and then what is called a sedan body with this flowing rear section. Around the back, when you open the luggage compartment, you realize just how heavy and weighty it is. It isn't too large, but wow, forget door shut, this is incredible. Now this 1939 Wraiths wouldn't come out of the factory like this. It would be sent to a coach builder. In this case, it is Park Ward, and as you can see the stamp there, he would have built this 4-door sports saloon, as it would be called, and the dealer also got a plate on the car generally, and that's Jack Barclay of London.
Then, as soon as I step in, something unique. A window winder.
Now, particularly interesting is this spring-loaded window crank handle. You pull it back and then release it and then pull it back again and the window's down. Push it forward and it goes up.
Getting in really does feel like stepping into a time capsule.
So really nice and comfortable reclined sofa. You can see a lot of thigh support and comfort. You're sat at a position that's really relaxed, and this big wheel, of course, because not power assisted. Now the dash is bird walnut, and you have some really gorgeous looking gauges, the speedometer from RR, the clock here from Smith's, water and oil temperature, amount of fuel in the petrol tank, and of course an amp meter here. Basic, simple, what you need, white on black crackle dials, very legible. It also has an orange on the 30 here to tell you what's the ideal speed, 30 miles an hour for fuel economy. This car also has 2 fuel pumps in case one fails, and you do need 2 when you want to go at a higher speed. So you select both when you want more fuel flow, and that's your control for the fuel pumps.
Now for the back seat, which in typical Rolls-Royce style is just perfect for a relaxed cruise.
I kid you not, this is one of the most comfortable seats I've ever sat in a car. The recline angle is perfect. The seat touches my back from the lower back all the way up. You get great back support, 2 elbow rests, one even on the right side, and nice long squab, beautifully angled. It's soft, it's supple. The leather is beautiful. Wow. You also get a door pocket here in this original leather that's been on the car. It looks like from 1939, and a couple of interesting features here. Now this one is a footrest, so your feet again are at a perfect angle. It's even more comfortable now. And remember all those luxury cars with tables in them? What's that? That's the table. A bit high for your laptop, but you can put useful stuff here, and I'm just speechless, basically. What a comfortable back.
Time to fire up the engine. The Wraith was first produced in 1938, and at that time Rolls wanted owners to drive its cars more, so it set out to design a car that was more agile. Under the hood is Rolls-Royce's famous creamy smooth straight 6. Using twin ignition sets, much like the aero engines, this updated 4.5 litre got a cross-flow head, 4 gears and modern aluminium parts.
So setting out with this long bonnet ahead of me and the gear lever on the right, just like a left-hand drive car. It's gone into second like butter. Now this 4.2 litre straight 6, as you expect, is creamy smooth, and as I accelerate, fair amount of torque, and it just oozes smoothness. So now in third, cruising along at the preferred 30 miles an hour for the efficiency, and you can see why this car can do miles and miles or kilometers just cruising along. Now in fourth, and it's easy to see why these cars were 20 or 30 years ahead of their time. They're just so mechanically robust, so mechanically efficient and clean. They just feel like much more modern cars than they are. There are cars of the 50s and 60s that drive with less mechanical sophistication than this. Incredible.
Pull the car harder in first gear and the non-synchro gear train does whine. But push it into second And here, the torque just comes flooding through, accompanied by a sensation of heavily oiled and perfectly machined pistons moving smoothly up and down. Wow! No wonder these cars were named after spirits, ghosts, and phantoms. They're just so silent.
We sort of have the perfect country road here with the river on the right and not too much traffic to really enjoy this car. The stability is surprisingly good, tracks well, there's not too much play in the steering, and I'm just surprised how well this car drives.
It also got independent suspension up front, adjustable dampers, and even a unique oiling system that kept everything lubricated.
Now, ride comfort is typically Rolls. It's supple, it's soft, and even on a car of this age, you really can feel the level of comfort that Rolls and Henry Royce wanted to give their cars. This car also has a unique hydraulic damper system where the front dampers vary their hardness with regards to the speed of the car. Even the gearbox action with this open gate on the right is pretty slick to use once you get used to it. And well, what can I say? I'm so surprised this car drives so well.
The exposed chrome gate, which sits on the right, needs a firm shove to engage gear. But once you do that, gears slot in with incredible precision and a nice oily feel. And once I get used to the drum brakes and start really standing on them, braking isn't much of an issue either. What a charming car, full of Rolls-Royce know-how and technology that in its day was probably in a class of its own. No wonder Autocar in the UK called Rolls the best car in the world. The depth of engineering, the build quality, the attention to detail, it's only when you drive, sit in or experience these cars that you fully understand.